One of the things that I love is that two films idea of your life. And there's like two stories you can tell. One that is safe and full of regret, and one that is risky and full of pride and joy.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather LeFevre, and I was once a child also. I've always been a creative problem solver, and case in point, when I was about 5 years old, I had an allowance. Many of you might have had this, and the rule was I had to clean my room and I would get $1. And one time my room was a mess, and my mom said, Heather, you need to clean up your room or you won't get $1. And I said, Mom, I'll pay you $1 to clean my room. And I've been and I've been outsourcing my work to that woman ever since. So I like this idea of creative problem solving, and luckily I was able to find a career post-university where I could apply it. It was the world of advertising, and these are some of the places that I got to work. They're really, this is not a preschool, Beautiful views in Amsterdam. And I have enjoyed the things that I've had the opportunity to do, but it's really learning those skills from being a strategist and applying them to my life that have given me breakthroughs. So for example, after working for a few years, I was wondering, am I being paid fairly as a woman? It was time for my performance evaluation, and I was wondering, should I be asking for a raise? Should I be asking for a promotion? I really had zero idea what to do. And I read this book at the time called Getting to Yes, and it talks about negotiating, basic tactics, and it says you need to have objective information from which to negotiate. So it can't just come in there and say, I'd sure like more dresses and pizza, give me more money. You need to say, this is what I'm worth on the market. And I didn't want to go out and find another job offer. I was happy where I was. So what I did was I started a survey, and, I forgot about that, whatever. I started a survey, and I gave it to the 30 people that I knew that did the job that I do in advertising agencies, and I said, spread this to the people that you know. I'll report the results anonymously. And 120 people took it the first year. I got a $12,000 raise and a promotion, and I got so many notes back about how helpful it was that I kept doing it year after year. I've done it for about 10 years now. And really everything good that's happened to me career-wise has been from this act of generosity, of investing my time, because I haven't had a direct, raise as a result. I've just met so many amazing people. I got to move overseas, work in these incredible places. And as I've gone through my career and worked more, I got to that point where I was the boss for the first time. And I still had this feeling inside that I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. And you get a new project and you have that fear of how will we ever solve this problem? So I decided to leave my cushy job, my nice Amsterdam job, and do something a little bit crazy. So I thought about going back to school. I thought about just continuing to work, but a few different things came together in my mind. You might have seen the TED Talk by Stefan Sagmeister. He believes that we spend 25 years learning, 40 years working, and then 15 or more years in retirement. What if you took some of those retirement years and interspersed them into your working life? And so he takes a sabbatical every 7 years, and through those experiments, those are the things that inspire him for the next 7 years. I also read Eat, Pray, Love. I'm a divorced lady. I read a book called The Craftsman by Richard Sennett, where he talks about how in the guilds, there was the practice of being an apprentice, and then you go out and you're a journeyman, and you work in all the different studios, and then you come back and you prove that you're a master. So all those sort of threads came together in my mind, and I wondered, could I go and work with other people and apprentice myself to them and learn from them? And oh, by the way, can I live in your house while I do it? And luckily, 9 people agreed to this scheme. One of the wives of one of the gentlemen that I stayed with said, so let me get this straight. You want to invite your 6-foot-tall, blonde, single friend who you met on the internet to come and stay in our house. So yes, that's what I wanted to do. And these are the 9 lovely people. We've already met. We've heard about Phil Adams already. So he's one of the guys in Edinburgh that hosted me. You should definitely have him speak another time. But these people all work in a variety of strategic roles. 4 of them were in Asia, 4 in Europe, and 1 in the US, innovation, strategy, marketing strategy of all sorts. I learned so many things from these beautiful people. And I learned because they let me into their lives. And I decided at the outset of this project that I would write a book. So the book is called Brain Surfing, the Top Marketing Strategy Minds in the World. And it's a collection of those lessons. I actually have 3 copies. And I thought, if anyone shares my birthday, are there any October 9ths here today? Anyone? No. October 9th? October 8th? October 10th?
We can auction them.
Okay, we can. We'll find a way to give them away. So have a few. Okay. So, but what I'd like to share today is 3 things that I have learned in this idea business, and by applying strategy to life. And the first thing is that ideas don't work like this. We wish that they did. But they are those combinations of multiple things, and oftentimes you hear it's 2 previously unconnected thoughts. But I believe it's more than 2. It's oftentimes 7, 8, 9. And when you think about Eat, Pray, Love, The Craftsman, Stefan Sackmeister, and all those different things influencing me, it came on as a slow hunch, and those things all came together for me. There's this idea that I love that I discovered by Stephen Johnson's book, Where Good Ideas Come From. And he talks about the adjacent possible. The strange and beautiful truth about the adjacent possible is that its boundaries grow as you explore them. Each new combination opens up the possibility of other new combinations. Think of it as a house that magically expands with each door you open. You begin in a room with 4 doors, each leading to a new room that you haven't visited yet. Once you open one of those doors and stroll into that room, 3 new doors appear, each leading to a brand new room that you couldn't have reached from your original starting point. Keep opening new doors, and eventually you'll have built a palace. So when I was hearing Chris's talking about how addresses were not ready, sometimes ideas are too many rooms ahead, and we need to help people by bringing them through the doorways, by showing them the pieces that have come together. But I also feel like part of my work, I do a lot of stakeholder interviews, we call them. So you go into a company and interview the management and ask them about the brand and why they came there. And so many times I hear this from people. They fell into what they do. So, there's certainly jobs now that I didn't know you could operate a drone when I was in school. There's things that you can do now that you couldn't do when we were in school. But I think we need to stop falling into jobs and into the work that we do and start designing the work that we do. And that's something that I'm trying to explore now. Since the book has come out, I don't know exactly what I want to do. And I'm still freelancing as a strategist, but I've decided to put all my things in storage. I put all my stuff in storage in Miami. This was my sick view at a Miami Vice pad. And my husband and I are going to live nomadically for the foreseeable future and just go where the gigs take us. And I think that is another aspect of how ideas work. Mix up those doors that you've opened. Think of it as like when you're playing Scrabble. They tell you to constantly be moving the tiles because you'll see words that you didn't see before. And that's what I'm trying to do with my life right now, is like maybe I'll see something to do that I haven't been able to notice before. So multiple ideas, multiple threads come together in ideas. The second point I want to make is about our attention. The Simpsons. Quiet, the commercials are on. If we don't watch these, it's like we're stealing TV. No one feels that way about advertising. And more, there's this vitriol about marketing and advertising that wasn't there when I started in the business. And I think it's because our attention is basically being raped in a way that it wasn't before. This is a quick stat of how much TV time costs. So you've got network prime time is the first one, Super Bowl, and then inflation. And you see, like, once the internet started to come on board, how much more expensive just that particular medium was. Because to get your attention, it's very difficult. these days. How many tabs do you guys have open on your laptop? Does anyone have more than 20? Yeah. So you're constantly dragged into these different places. Your mind is, the state of constant partial attention. And that is fundamentally changing us as humans. And I think we need to treat our attention the way I was told to treat my virginity as a Southern woman, minus the guilt and the shame. But another thing, a year ago, I went to Costa Rica and I spent a month doing yoga teacher training at this amazing place called Pavones Yoga Center. Yes, I'm an advertisement for it. It's overlooking the ocean. It's the jungle behind you. And what I learned that I had no idea is that yoga is actually not just the poses that you do with your body. It's also about how you live your life and how you learn to think about your mind. A lot of the things that we heard yesterday from our preacher man. And there's a couple of things that I learned. First off, I learned about the Yoga Sutras by this guy named Patanjali, he was sort of a curator of these thousands of years that people were doing yoga type things and learning about the mind. And he codified them and wrote them down. And they're these chants that you can do to just first experience the idea and then you learn what they mean. So the second Yoga Sutra goes, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And what that means literally is yoga, the screen of your mind, the things that present on them, protect them. So nirodha is a word about the earthen bank around the fire. And I think that's a really interesting idea about protecting your attention, protect your mind as though it's a fire that you need to keep stoked. And also the yamas and the niyamas are kind of like building on the golden rule about how to live your life. And there's this idea of nonviolence. And one of the things that I learned there is, in expressing that idea, think about the words that you speak and the things that you put into the world. Does it improve upon the silence? And I think that's what I feel about a lot of brands, is that they're just doing a lot of shit that does not necessarily improve upon the silence. So are the things that you're doing worthy of attention? And then the last thing about ideas is that everything you need to know is inside other people, and not like a Kinder Bueno egg that you break it open for the prize inside, but that you, through your masterful use of conversation, can draw people out to help you on your path. Some of the people that I met through working on the book taught me some amazing things. So this one guy in Shanghai, his name's Rob Campbell, and he works at Wieden & Kennedy, and he has this practice of utilizing what he calls informants. So he has interviewed prostitutes about what they think about different men who drive different kinds of cars. He's brought in tailors to talk about masculinity. So just bringing those diverse perspectives. This salon picture is based on Kevin May, who has a business, a consultancy, where he plans in salon sessions to every project, and he brings in 4 people from diverse backgrounds. He always keeps it to 2 hours, and he just riffs on what he's working on. And it was incredible to experience several of them while I was with him in Seattle, and to see that we got to places we would never have got to just by doing typical market research or even Googling for 2 weeks straight. And then the last one, Sahar Sidhom, he has a company called Hackmasters, where he uses the format of a hackathon to bring different people together in a short period of time. And that the energy that people bring, the doors and the rooms, the palace of the adjacent possible is so big, none of us will ever be able to explore them all on our own. We need each other. So I'd like to invite you to stop asking people when you meet them, what do you do and where are you from? Like right now, where are you from is a really, I'm not from anywhere right now. I'm homeless, So, and consider asking what lights you up and what's on your mind lately, and help those people. I get a neural boost when I make that connection of I know somebody you need to meet, and have you read this book? Have you thought about this? I think a lot of other people feel that way too. And so if we can get our conversations to those places faster, we're going to get farther along. And we're going to have better conversations, frankly, as well. There's another organization I'd like to make you aware of. It's called House of Genius. Has anyone ever been? Nay. Oh, one person. Okay. So House of Genius is an organization that was founded to foster the startup community in a city. And the way that it works is that 3 startups come for the evening, they do like a 5-minute who they are, and they have an ask that if they understand who, they could unlock growth for themselves. And then the city director has curated a room full of people, about 20. No one says their surname, and nobody says what they do for work. And they give advice. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? From, da-da. And it's amazing, it's incredible. And at the end of the evening, you reveal who you are, and you want to meet people based on how they think and not what's on their business card. So I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs in here. The London chapter is very strong, so definitely need to check that out. Last point, that this idea of having offers and having asks. Yesterday we held a reciprocity ring. Did anybody, in my 11 reciprocity ringers, did you enjoy it? Yeah. So this idea of a reciprocity ring is you share where you are in the adjacent possible and see if anybody in the room can help you. And so maybe I can help you, and you can help him, and he can help her, and maybe she can help me. And we were all giving each other notes and ideas and things, and we all got to places that we wouldn't have been able to get to with just a little bit of time. And this is something that I'm thinking about more and more. What do I have to offer, like for the auction and things? So I'm going to offer to you guys, if anybody would like 1 hour of a Skype with a vampire of interestingness as your accomplice, I will happily do it. You're going to have to track me down and make it happen. But what can you offer the world before you're asking? And can you keep that ratio at least 2 to 1? This is a little bit of a spoiler if you have not read this book, Ready Player One. It's amazing. Just finished it. At the end, it goes, "I'm entrusting the care of the oasis to you now, Parzival," Halliday said. "Your avatar is immortal and all-powerful. Whatever you want, all you have to do is wish for it. Pretty sweet, eh?" He leaned toward me and lowered his voice. "Do me a favor. Try to use your powers for good, okay?" So I feel like he was totally speaking to me, because advertising sometimes feels, we were talking, Mark and I were talking yesterday about, he used the phrase, "for my sins," because we both worked in it. And I have done some things that I think are probably a little sinful, but I've learned some amazing, amazing skills. And I'm trying to figure out how can I use those things for good. And so I have one idea I can share with you. I was married when I was 22, because I'm from Texas, if you didn't hear that. And I got divorced at 28. And it was a horrible experience, and I don't wish that for anyone else. And I would like to get into the relationship business. Can I be a strategist for relationships? I think that's possible. Can I create a divorce vaccine? Because all these different psychologists have their way. Like, is it the 5 love languages, or is it the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse of relationships? What is it? Can I help people know which things for their particular situation? So that's my ask. If there's anything that you know or can connect me to help me make that into maybe a business, I would love to know it. And I did meet one guy he has a blog about his divorce, and he wrote an amazing article called "My Wife Divorced Me Because I Left a Dish by the Sink." You have to read it, it's great. So I wish for your ideas to be made real, and if there's anything that I can do to help make that happen, I'm here to do it. Thank you.